My best friend is in love with my boyfriend. So I, male 22, live with my boyfriend, male 22, and am friends with this guy, also male 22. I've been friends with him for around 3 years, which was when I started college. I met him and we clicked instantly. I introduced him to my boyfriend, who wasn't my boyfriend at the time, but was a close friend of mine from high school. Friend, let's call him Harry, not his name, but yeah. So Harry had this boyfriend since I met him, but they broke up a while ago, like in December or January. I'm not really sure. Harry has always been the flirty type. That's his personality. He doesn't flirt with me, but he's flirted with my boyfriend before, and I've told him to stop a handful of times. It all came to a head a few days/a week or two ago. My boyfriend told me that Harry had come over and admitted his love for him. I was shocked, but deep down, not surprised. I've seen the way that he looks at him and have gotten jealous before, but I'm not just one to talk about this kind of stuff. Also, I trust my boyfriend and plan on being with him for the future and stuff. Boyfriend rejected him really quickly, by the way. Hi, if you're reading this, love. I call my friend and get really upset, and it turns into a yelling match where he's telling me he can't control his feelings. I feel kind of bad for him. A few days later, and here I am now. I feel like crap. I don't have many friends because I'm extremely introverted and have already been dealing with depression and stuff, and just recently started seeing a therapist by my boyfriend's recommendations. He sees one as well. I miss Harry. He was my best friend, and I hate not having any close friends other than my boyfriend since I don't want to lay everything on him. I'm asking what to do in this situation. Should I reach out to Harry and try to reconcile, or at least meet up with him and have a talk with the three of us together? I feel like we could reach a mutual understanding. My boyfriend is iffy about it, but he wants to do what I want, but I'm not sure what I want. And now in the comments, I honestly think that your friend is the one who should be reaching out to you because he is the one in the wrong. You shouldn't feel guilty or like you are the one to blame. I honestly can't be friends with someone who flirts with my boyfriend and says they have feelings for them. But if you think you can, then by all means reach out to him, but don't feel like you should be the one apologizing. OP replies, I don't know why I feel guilty. Maybe because I saw the blatant flirting and didn't do much to stop it. The times I tried, he told me that was just his personality. To be fair, I have seen him flirt with others, but in retrospect, it's mainly people who fit my boyfriend's type. In short, more bottom guys, lol. So I guess in hindsight I should have realized his excuses were false, and he just had an attraction to my boyfriend. Harry is right. He can't control his feelings, but he can control his actions. If he was your friend, he would apologize for this and for the sake of the friendship, distance himself until he's over it, or at a minimum, hide it. It is wildly inappropriate for him to be flirty, even if that's his personality, with a person who is in a relationship. I'm glad you were seeking therapy. It will do you mountains of good. Talk about this and talk about how to get more friends. This is it. He tried to steal your boyfriend. We all get crushes, but he tried to steal your boyfriend. He is a bad friend and owes you an apology. I wouldn't reach out. Harry can think about what he did, and if he's a good friend, he would apologize for breaching his best friend's intimate relationship. Up to you if you decide to be friends again. I personally wouldn't. Sure, he has feelings. He could have talked to you about them since y'all are so close, not flirt and admit them to the love interest, your boyfriend, hoping for a slim reciprocation. He can control his actions. People do it all the time. I would stay away. My best friend would not have done that. Don't hold on to people just because you have known them for a while or are in short supply. And OP replies, yeah, now that I think about it, he never actually apologized and instead kind of defended his actions. I think I'll at least have a talk with him if he ever reaches out and ask him what the hell he was thinking. If you're in love with your best friend's partner, you don't tell the partner. You don't put that on them or your friend. Yeah, you can't help your feelings, but also it's your responsibility to manage your feelings and how you act on them. Harry is the one who owes you an apology. He threw a grenade into your relationship. As for advice, I think at this point it's time to try to make some new friends. And believe me, I know that's really hard to do as an adult, pandemic or not, But just like how you don't want to put everything on your boyfriend, you should never put all of your friendship on one specific person. Maybe start spending some time in some online groups focused around a hobby of yours, or depending on your area, hit up some safe, socially distanced meetups. And now onto the update. I know the original post didn't get much publicity, but I wanted to do an update in case any of y'all were curious. Thank you for the support, and I took a lot of your guys' advice, and I'm very grateful. So me and my boyfriend did get a call from Harry apologizing to us. He specifically called me, but requested my boyfriend, who, side note, is now my fiancé, so I am a very happy man anyways, also be at the phone with me. So Harry went on this speech about how he knows he was in the wrong and that he wants to repair our friendship with the both of us. This was about 2 days after I made the original post. And suddenly, he claimed he no longer had feelings for my fiancé. Yeah, right. Of course, neither of us believed him, and honestly, his apology was kind of crap. I realized through the comments that he wasn't a true friend, and through more self-evaluation that went on for a while, he was using me to get close to my fiancé. That realization hurt a lot, and it definitely set back my development of getting over my social anxiety. I told Harry I didn't want to repair our friendship, that I had realized that he was using me, and that he definitely wasn't over my fiancé just after 2 days, when he claimed to be in love with him for over a year. I told him how he blatantly tried to take away the love of my life, and how much that deeply hurt me. Harry didn't take this well, and exploded. He started cussing me out, saying how he honestly couldn't care less about my feelings, how I was never a good friend, how I have a tendency to push people away. Again, that's why it hurt so much losing him, and feeling betrayed because I already have a difficult time keeping friends in the first place, because it's hard not to push people away. He told me he only stayed my friend for the past few months to try and get in my fiancé's pants. Accused my fiancé of seducing him, honestly hilarious because my fiancé has a hard time flirting with me because he gets so shy, adorable though. He also claimed that I cheated on my fiancé with his ex-boyfriend, definitely not true. And at that point, he was just trying to convince my fiancé to break up with me again over the phone. I hung up and blocked him after giving him a few harsh words. So it's been a few days since then. My fiancé and I joined a book club, as one of the commenters suggested, since he and I both take interest in books, and things are looking up. He introduced me to some people he knew that I shared a major with, and it's nice to have people that like what I like. And I'm starting to put myself out there more with the help of my fiancé. And I proposed, clearly. The whole thing kind of made me realize how much I loved him, and I was already planning on proposing anyways. We had gone to a place that was special to us from where we were teenagers, and we hadn't been in about 4 years. So I proposed there. And he said yes, and now I'm very happy, and I could honestly not care less about Harry. Thanks to everyone who commented. Much love. And now in the comments, quote, Harry didn't take this well and exploded. He started cussing me out. It's amazing how quickly people show their true colors. That definitely tells you his apology was not sincere, and he probably would have continued to pursue your fiancé under the radar. And OP replies, honestly, his ridiculous claim that he was already over my fiancé made me laugh. I can't believe I didn't realize his intent sooner when we were friends. So Harry's apology was really just a way to stay close to your fiancé. He admits that he was using you to get close to him. Sounds like you handled this well. Good luck and congrats on the engagement. Congratulations on your engagement, and for standing up for yourself. I'm sorry you crossed paths with a terrible person. He sounds really manipulative, so please don't blame yourself for being friends with him in the past, but hopefully it'll help you see red flags in the future. Finding people with common interests, like books, is definitely a good way to go. And OP replies, yeah, now that I look back on it, I can see all his manipulative behavior, and honestly can't believe I fell for such a long time. I now realize why him and his boyfriend had such a messy breakup when he claimed to have done nothing wrong. Sometimes it's hard to see the real person when they put a blindfold over your eyes for such a long time. What a nightmare of a situation, but I'm glad OP and his fiancé are happy together. Good of the friend to show his true colors when trying to make amends, and ultimately avoid any attempts by the happy couple to actually reconcile. What a lovely chunk of dead weight to lose. I do also love how boyfriend and fiancé closed ranks with OP and just shut Harry down. I know so many cases where the significant other turns a blind eye, or, for the longest time, pretends their partner is just overreacting. So it's nice to see boyfriend/fiancé handle OP's feelings so well and pay heed to his feelings instead of just brushing them off. Most of the time, those significant others who turn a blind eye, either 1, like the attention, or 2, are cheating, especially if they gaslight their partners into thinking that they are overreacting to obvious flirting. OP's fiancé seems extremely healthy and supportive because not only did they have his back with his toxic friend, but also pushed him forward toward therapy and reaching out to make more friends. I'm also glad that OP didn't forgive Harry for his fiancé's sake, as it would be no fun to be around someone who obviously likes you, possibly pushes your boundaries, and flirts, which makes you uncomfortable, and who your partner let back in after obviously disrespecting the relationship. On top of that, being his significant other's best friend, and knowing his significant other's problems with social anxiety, he wouldn't want to push his significant other's best friend away if his significant other didn't want it, which is evident by him being reluctant but willing to do what OP wanted. The people who claim that they can't control their feelings or that the affair just happened are totally full of it. You know, when you have a crush, you can choose to put it aside or not. You avoid them, reduce how often you see them, make sure that you are not alone with them, etc. There are lots of things you can do with your feelings, and it's a choice to have an affair. And our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for funding my son's hobby, but not my daughter's?" So, my son fell in love with ice skating after he went on this reward trip when he was 8 with his school. After he came back from the trip, he begged and begged me to let him learn. I didn't want to go all in and he lose interest in a month, but he never lost interest and the stars aligned when I saw someone giving away a pair of children's skates on Facebook and they were my son's size. So I got him the skates, and my best friend knew someone who worked at an ice rink and sorted it so my son could go in for free. So he would watch videos and practice whenever he could, and practically taught himself. His first pair of skates fell apart before he outgrew them, and I bought him brand new ones, and for his 10th birthday, I surprised him with figure skating lessons. Since then, he's competed in a few competitions, but he mainly just does it because he enjoys it. When we moved, I paid for his membership at the ice rink, and whenever he outgrew or broke his skates, I would get him new ones. I drove him to practice and competitions. My son is now 16, and my daughter is 18. Unlike my son, my daughter never really had a hobby or anything. However, in the past few years, she's had a few interests that she would give up on after a few weeks. First, it was crocheting, and then it was baking, and then it was yoga, and so on and so on. I didn't mind getting her things for her hobbies because it wasn't too expensive. However, recently, she says she wants to start making jewelry, soaps, and makeup, and start selling them. I offered to buy her some molds and told her to send me links to the one that she liked. The next day, I got a text from her, and it had a bunch of soap molds, a bunch of different resin molds, and links to soap ingredients, pigments, resin, packaging, and a bunch of other stuff that she would need. It was almost $600 worth of stuff, and almost everything she had asked for was the most expensive option. I told her I wasn't getting her all of this, and that I said I would buy her a few molds, not fund her small business. She told me that it's unfair that I've spent so much on her brother since he was little, but won't support her interests this once. I told her that I don't want to spend hundreds for her to drop it in less than a month. She then started crying and saying that I don't believe in her, her dedication, and her talents, and that this is what she wants to do. She then left to her mother's and has been ignoring my calls since. I didn't think I was in the wrong until she pointed out the possible favoritism and started crying. I feel horrible for making her cry. Am I the asshole, and how do I fix this? Edit. I got a DM about this, so I wanted to elaborate on our family dynamic. Both my children have different mothers. Me and my daughter's mother split before she was born. Amicably. We are still close friends and get on very well. Me and my son's mother split when he was 6, and she later passed on when he was 8. They are half siblings. I am a lot better off financially than my daughter's mother, and that is why I am covering the expenses of her hobbies and not her mother. Edit 2, some people have been asking about how much I spend on each of my kids, so I'm going to copy and paste a comment I made responding and explaining this. Sorry I didn't include this in my original post. My son's membership is about $85 a month, and he needs new skates every 2 to 3 years. His skates range from $150 to $200, and were obviously cheaper when he was younger. He pays for most of the entry fees for competitions, and makes his own outfits and costumes. For every hobby my daughter pursues, I spend about $50 to $75 on supplies and stuff until she gives it up, and that was what I was willing to pay for her this time. I have no issue with her exploring different hobbies. I just don't want to invest hundreds for the equipment to sit in a box, gathering dust. If she continued to pursue and enjoy something, I would have no issue investing as much as she needed. Also, when it comes to her mother does not make as much as me. So when we split, I said I would cover any hobbies, clubs, extracurriculum or school tips, unless she started making as much or more than me. She's a lot more stable now, but I've been promoted and still make more. I don't mind. We may not be together anymore, but I still care a lot about her. And now in the comments, ooh, this is tricky. I want to empathize with your daughter because I also struggle with picking up and dropping hobbies, but I also understand you not wanting to drop $600 on supplies that she might not ever even use. I am leaning more towards you not being the arsehole, since you seem more than willing to compromise and have her start with baby steps, whereafter she threw a tantrum and is now giving you the silent treatment. On one hand, this sounds like untreated ADHD. I'm diagnosed and also struggle with hobbies, and I tend to have an emotional response when I feel I'm not being supported. But on the other hand, it absolutely could be her trying to cow you into getting her way. It's hard to say, but as it stands, I'm gonna go with you as not the arsehole. Perhaps when things calm down, you can have an honest, gentle conversation with her. No arseholes here. As a fellow parent with a child who has hopped from hobby to hobby over the years, I know it can be frustrating. People without kids, and definitely people without kids with mental health struggles, wouldn't understand how hard it is sometimes, and I do think it sounds like your daughter has unresolved issues with focusing and her attention span. Has she ever been diagnosed with ADHD? It's a very common thing in folks with ADHD to start and stop new hobbies. And OP replies, "Thanks for your advice. Both my son and daughter have ADHD, so I completely understand why she may struggle to find a hobby. She struggles with focus and keeping interest in the same way that my son hyperfixates on things. I am also really sorry if my attitude towards my daughter's hobby hopping comes across as frustrated. I'm really not. All I want is for her to enjoy herself. I'm completely fine with her trying things out, and I would have invested a small amount into it like I've done her other hobbies, and would have invested more if she continues. I only want my children to have fun and enjoy themselves. I just wasn't expecting her to want that much, and I also didn't expect her reaction when I said no. Not the arsehole. You spent that much on your son over the course of many years after he demonstrated a lasting interest. If your daughter demonstrates a lasting interest, you can buy her more stuff for her hobby then. Info. It seems evident that you've spent more cash on your son, and maybe that's fair, but what about time? You clearly supported your son a lot, and that's great. What about your daughter? And OP replies, I've tried to support my daughter as much as I can through her interests. I also had no issue spending some money and time with her when she found something new that she enjoyed. And I was annoyed when she dropped it since I hadn't invested that much, and I'm completely on board with her new venture this time. I even said that I look forward to seeing her new products and would even be a customer. I just wasn't prepared for her to ask for this much, as I have never given her that much to start her previous hobbies. I often worry about favoring my son, but it's hard as my daughter has her mother in the picture while my son does not. So, offer a compromise, give her a budget, and ask her to show you what she is making. Spend time with her, ask her to teach you. And now onto the update. Hi, I want to say thank you for all of your messages, even those who said I was the asshole. They have given possible insight into how my daughter may view the situation. I texted my daughter that I wanted to talk to her and for her to call me when she was ready, as I didn't want to push her if she still needed some space. She called me a little bit later. I explained to her that I truly do believe in her and that I only care that she has fun and does what she enjoys. I asked if she really does feel like I've favored her brother and haven't given her as much attention as she liked. She broke down and said that it wasn't true, but she was jealous of him. He had found what he loved to do, and she, despite being older, had not. It made her feel like she wouldn't accomplish anything. I told her that wasn't true, and that she is a wonderful and bright young woman. We talked for a bit more, and I let her express how she felt. There were a few things that she said that made me realize some mistakes I have made, and things I can do to help. I then promised her a deal. I still wouldn't give her the $600, but I would give her $85 a month to go to whatever hobby that she wanted to do, the same amount I spend on my son's membership. She can spend it or save it. I also suggested that instead of trying to make 3 very different kind of products, she should start with one, and if she can show me a financial plan and decided to pursue this as a business instead of just a hobby, I made sure to tell her I don't mind whatever way she takes this, that I may invest. I don't want any sort of shares or put any pressure on her to earn, I just want some of her product every now and then. She loved this idea. I apologized for making her feel like I didn't believe in her, and she apologized for throwing a fit. Also, just because I don't want any confusion about this still being unequal, my son has told me, a while ago, I just didn't think it was relevant to this post, that he wants to get some custom skates, so is saving to buy his next pair by himself. Again, thank you for all the comments and advice. And now in the comments, honestly the best possible outcome here, really. I'm glad they were able to have a mature conversation, fully understand how the daughter feels on the trying to find that one true passion front though, especially if people around you seem to have their stories. I'm glad of the positive outcome here, but am I really the only one here that thinks there is a major difference between nurturing an elementary schooler/middle schooler/high schooler's interests versus giving money to a grown-ass adult daughter for her business? And that the daughter was out of line to pitch a fit about it or manipulate her father by even equating the situations. I think we should all be a bit more fair to the daughter, even if there was some conscious manipulation behind her meltdown and the words she chose. This is exactly what it's like having siblings. I remember the firstborn washing the dishes every day to pay the fee for her hobby. She got a job, and as a 16-year-old, she was expected to contribute to that hobby, which, might I add, was school-sanctioned and pro-social. She even bought her own car. Fast forward 4 years, my little brother kinda wants to do sports but hasn't really settled on one. Jesus Christ, let's buy him anything. We need to keep this kid off the streets. And I was observing all this. I forgot where I figured in. I made a comment about how the parents were spoiling the babies, and my sister said, I guess that Dad stopped asking you for your share of the car insurance this year? Did you forget? He stopped asking me, and I noticed it. I just want to add that there is a lot of pressure on social media to start businesses and to turn your hobbies into making money opportunities. I feel like this trend also encourages turnover, constantly pushing new trends for hobbies. It may be a good time to remind your daughter that hobbies don't need to be income streams. Does she want to start this hobby because it seems fun? For the money? Because she saw someone else do it and thinks it'll make her happy? It's good that he ended up supporting his daughter. Son was lucky he found his thing right away. I hope she can find her thing soon, too. It's okay to try different things and not settle as long as you enjoy it. Honestly, I think the idea that people should have a thing is pretty lame. I can't imagine having a thing when you could have like 50 things instead. When you have a talent or are simply good at something, it becomes something you like doing better than others. That's a thing. Allowing yourself to focus on that one thing makes you better at it until it becomes your passion. Having 50 things is fine too. Just don't expect yourself to be an expert or passionate on all of that.